Hi there, it's the great and glorious, soon to be famous one day, Nick Dutch, back on the camera again one more time, responding to a comment that was left on my channel page by a YouTube user called Seraj1, and it says here, Nick, I wanted to ask you an important question. Da-da-da-da-da. Obviously, she hasn't actually written the trumpet fanfare in there, I just added that for good measure, okay? If I am a medium, does it mean I am a psychic too? And if I am a clairvoyant medium, then what can I do to improve my skills? Thanks. Okay, this is where we get into the kind of like trap of definitions and what they mean. I think it's more a question of you trying to learn about what you are and what you can do and what you want to do, and then trying to achieve some forms of strange experiences on the way within keeping with what you're trying to achieve, and also being realistic about that and not trying to tell yourself that you can do something when you haven't actually experienced enough to be able to say whether you can do that thing or whether you can't do that thing. Okay, so getting your perspective right is really rather important. Also within this world today, unfortunately, thanks to, popular fiction, popular supernatural fiction, the ideas as to what people have about the word medium, psychic, clairvoyant, spiritualist, and all the rest of that has been affected in the minds of individuals as to what these terms mean. Okay? Which makes things harder. I mean, there are some people who think that a psychic or a clairvoyant or a medium can only make a delivery in a certain way, rather than actually being able to do something in particular. So if you're talking to someone who thinks that you are a spiritualist, then essentially you've got to work out what they think a spiritualist talks like, and you've got to talk like it. Okay, that's the only way that you can basically make them happy. Which I think is wrong, and I just don't like that. But unfortunately, that's the way that the world is. So, if you're a medium, it would normally, I suppose, be a presupposition that you are trying to make some form of communication with an entity outside of yourself, and it is a separate entity which has some form of communication means or mechanism that can be understood by you to a certain degree and within certain limits. Okay? That's roughly what it means. Does that mean that you've got any other abilities? Well, that's up to you to decide. I don't think that the word ability is necessarily quite that useful here, because it does presuppose that it's something that you can do boom, boom, quick, reliable, 110% all the time, when basically you and I know it's not quite that clear cut. And it's more a question of experimenting and seeing what you can do under some circumstances, rather than to put yourself on a pedestal basically and say, I am the great Wizard of Oz, I can make your dreams come true and blah 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 blah, which isn't right. Okay? And if you're a clairvoyant medium, then what can you do to improve your skills? Okay, again, this is where it gets a bit wild and woolly. To the most part, the only thing that we could really say is to practice with meditation and pay close attention, mentally speaking, to any sensations that you're experiencing, both inside your own mind and your own being, including your own body, and also outside of yourself, and any strange consciousness phenomenon which occur, and also learning to do this without trying to be too analytical. Okay, so you take mental note of all the things you've experienced, and after the effects, then after the experience, you can then analyze it more. So incorporate into that things which can be useful for, or is believed to be useful for, assisting in the generation of some kind of spiritual experience. And I'm going to use the word spiritual experience here because that would include religious experiences as well. And there is a massive overlap between religious experiences and quasi-supernatural, psychic, stroke mediumship, stroke clairvoyant stuff as well. So think about that. Chakra openings are great. Religious meditation is great. If it puts you in that transcendental state of mind, it's ideal. So play around to try and get that kind of results. Okay? And also trying to sense things which are outside of yourself in specific locations. And that's when it overlaps with out-of-body experiences and remote viewing and that sort of stuff. And again, it's just a question of practice. And it's weird, because it shows that something strange can happen. But it also shows the number of different forces happening in the world. What I've noticed, I'm someone who has a number of allergy complaints. Sometimes some of my allergy symptoms can get worse, and my health can get worse. And I get many more, apparently, psychic experiences which seem to have some kind of bearing on things in reality. And sometimes other allergy type symptoms can basically get worse, and I stopped being able to do that entirely for a while. So there is a variability based upon your body. So also think about maybe your diet, your nutrition and exercise, and think about how that is also affecting you both positively and negatively, and with what particular forms of experiences it appears to be helping you with, and with what particular forms of experiences it appears to be not helping you with. Because it's not, it's it's not rigid and clear cut. There is so much variability associated with this. And self-analysis of that type is, I feel, what is required if you want to work out where your limits are. And these limits do shift. Okay? I mean, I personally see... sorry, forgive me. I personally see a lot of this as being related to consciousness-based phenomenon rather than anything else. And that's the attitude that I take. So essentially, if a robot had shuffled a pack of cards and then turned one card over into an envelope and passed it on to me, it would probably be harder for me to try and work out what that card was than if a human being in another room had shuffled it and placed one card into an envelope and then given it to me to try and work out what it was. I'm not even saying whether I'd be able to do that reliably. It'd have to have like 1 million trials or something like that, and then try and work out the statistical significance. And also have to bear in mind what my health is doing at the time, and also what my concentration is doing at the time, and whether I'm actually reaching the right state of mind. So, it's not quite as clear cut as a archetypal parapsychology, cards with squiggly lines and stars and circles on it type test, so to speak. But I think that should give you an understanding as to how complex trying to understand what you can do and what you can't do and when you can do it actually is, as well as the need to, depending upon the quality of person that you're talking to and their quality of understanding, change your style of expression about the phenomena in question so that they can get a better understanding and can have a certain quantity of confidence in you to be able to talk to them. Alright, as well as for you to then be able to give them a certain quantity of rational and reasoning explanation about what can be done and what can't be done. It's all tricky stuff, and there's an awful lot which I don't know about, and there's an awful lot which none of us there's lots we just don't know about. You don't know about, I don't know about, none of us know about. So all we can do is to carry on experimenting. Now, from the tone of your question, it almost feels like you're trying to work out almost where you are, where you stand as an individual with an identity within the weird world, so to speak. Okay, fine, but on the other hand, is that really the most important thing? All right? Because if the phenomena are variable inside you with the passage of time, then you're not point blank, black and white, a medium or a spiritualist or a clairvoyant or a remote viewer. You're a bit of all of them, and it varies throughout the day, week, month and year, and not necessarily in accordance with any particular astrological whatever. It's more a question of your body, your mind, your self-training, and all the rest of that jazz. And it's it's variable. But it needs experimenting with and exploring with and practicing with meditation, religious exercises, prayer, the rest of that stuff, to give you that kind of I don't know what it is. Maybe it's even connected to temporal lobe epilepsy and using that as a way to, a gateway to something else. I don't know. But it's that kind of transcendental state of mind which is important to make something occur, or seems to be. But even then it's different, because there's different types of states of mind used for different things. And trying to describe it, verbally speaking, is a real pain. I mean, I've tried to do that before in the past, and I don't really think I managed to get quite as far as I'd have liked. But learn to feel what states of mind you're in when you are achieving something, because it's, emotionally speaking, it's variable. Okay, intellectually speaking, it's variable. And it's only you who can tell yourself whether you're achieving something or not.